Hey, today we finna be watching more body horror in kids media.
Welcome to more body horror in kids media 2 months after the first one came out, which popped off, by the way, so thank you for that. We're just gonna get right into it because I know you don't want to hear me yap for too long in the intro. Let's start with The Red Spot. I'm assuming you probably know what Lord have mercy. I'm assuming you probably know what scary stories to tell in the dark is if you've been to public school, because they had it in the school library. Although, let's be honest, I don't think a lot of us actually really read the books. We kind of just got the books to look at the pictures. That was like the whole appeal to these books, the horrifying illustrations, and it's what everyone remembers the most. Also, the movie adaptation is pretty damn good. They hit the nail right on the head with the designs and practical effects.
Bro,
It's
that
so
hoe was
damn cool
scary as
seeing how
shit,
accurate they
bro.
brought these illustrations to life
Okay.
with the movie, and watching it takes you back to elementary school when you were not reading, when you were looking at the illustrations in these books in the school library. Now, just because I didn't read most of the stories doesn't mean I didn't read any of them. There is one I remember reading very vividly. The Red Spot. Oh, yep, that one on screen right there. Yep, no warning at all. Arachnophobes, how you doing? I'm gonna put the scene from the movie on the screen while I talk about the story. So basically, while this girl is sleeping, she gets bit by a spider on her cheek, and she wakes up and notices there's
Oh
a red
yeah,
spot.
she got a
And she's
big
like,
ass
ew, it's so
bump,
fucking ugly on my
and then
face. And the mom's like, oh,
all
it's
the
okay, it's
fucking
probably just a
spiders
spider
come
bite.
out that
It'll
hoe.
go away, just don't scratch it. Well, it doesn't go away. As a matter of fact, in a few days, the boil is
Yeah,
so
big as
massive that
hell.
the mom's like, alright, maybe we should have the doctor look at it. But the doctor couldn't see Ruth until the next day. That night, Ruth decides to take a nice hot bath. And then, the boil bursts, and a bunch of tiny spiders crawl out of the red spot on her cheek. Not only did she have a spider bite, but the spider laid eggs in her cheek, making it the perfect body horror in kids media. Ah, he said the thing. Let's go. Henry Danger was a weird ass show. Because it was run by Dan Schneider, so who's surprised? I liked Henry Danger, though. It was one of my
Yeah,
go-to
Henry Danger
Nickelodeon
touches
sitcoms.
kids.
That being
I
said,
mean,
there were
Ben
definitely
Schneider.
a lot of what the
Ben
moments.
Schneider
One
touches
of these
kids, right?
WTF moments is
He
related to
looks
body
at their
horror,
feet and
I
puts
completely
peanut butter
forgot
on
it
them
had
and
in
licks
the
it
show.
off.
And thanks to this comment on the first body horror video, hold on, I gotta find the screenshot. Give me a second. Ah, okay.
Bro, I always thought
Thanks
that
to
shit was weird.
commenter
I was like, bro,
Important
why the
Life for
fuck
reminding me
you
of this
just put their
moment in the
feet
show.
on the camera like
They
that?
say
Okay,
another
bro,
one that
get your
kinda
fucking
straight up
feet on my
creeped me
face.
out was
Right,
Henry
like I
Danger
wasn't the only
season
one
4,
that thought that shit
episode
was weird.
14.
I know it's cause like I never, you don't ever see fucking feet in videos like that.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
no one be
only on
putting,
Nickelodeon.
yeah, they be putting their fucking feet in that hoe like, and it was always Ariana Grande.
Yeah, and whenever they had that one segment, like when it was like wiggling their toes and shit, I was like, what the fuck?
Fucking Dan Schneider, little creepy ass.
Now I remember. I must revisit
Oh,
this
fat
moment in the show
creepy
for
man.
myself. And also, I did a clip for the YouTube video, obviously. So I find a pirated episode on Dailymotion. In case you were wondering, yes, it is 360p. Can you tell? When Ray runs into an ex-girlfriend, he tries to impress her by pretending that Henry, Charlotte, and Jasper are his children. I'm not gonna do a rundown of the entire episode, because I don't care. And quite frankly, I don't think you do either. That's not what you're here for. We're here for the body horror. That comes at the end of this episode. All you need to know is that there's a teleportation device involved. But it cannot teleport 2 people at a time. And these people ignore that rule. So when they try to use the machine to teleport themselves, they get turned into a blob creature thing. Kind of like at the end of that one SpongeBob
What the
episode.
fuck is
By far
that?
the funniest part of this moment right here is when they don't know what to do with the human blob. So they just drop it off at a synagogue. The grossest part though is the sounds and shit that they make. Like their fused bodies just sound squishy and slimy and like, ugh, just gross.
Do you know how to separate them? You know, turn them back into 2 normal people?
Oh hell no.
And they're making all these distorted faces and stuff like that. It kind of looks like a David Firth animation. It's definitely a moment in the show, that's for sure. And I completely forgot about it, so thank you, Important Life, for reminding me of this atrocity. All God's creatures fresh off the grill.
Mr.
Come on
Meaty?
down to Mr. Meaty,
You ever watch
where the
Mr. Meaty?
friends meet to eat meat.
Hell nah.
And by
It's like
meat, I'm
puppet,
talking
like
human
these fucking
fingers.
puppets and
I
shit.
did not grow up watching Mr. Meaty. Matter of fact, I just recently
Video, I
learned
think.
about it within the past year or 2. And everything I've seen about it looks absolutely disgusting.
fucking weird, though.
Including the puppet designs. It looks like something that would be on Adult Swim. But no, this was on Nickelodeon. Also, fun fact, one of the creators of the show also created Nanoland.
The fuck is that?
Now, as I just mentioned the consumption of human hands, what I was specifically referring to is the Mr. Meaty short, The Crispy Hand. Josh is flirting it up with the goth girl, my man has taste, and she orders a burger, but make it
Bizarre.
ugly. Josh is trying to score something, so he offers her a tour of the Mr. Meaty restaurant.
He's ugly as
As they're touring
shit.
the establishment, she slips on some lard that's all over the floor, and her hand goes in the deep fryer. Her reaction?
Ah,
Not much.
hell no.
She does say
That is painful.
when she pulls her hand out of the deep fryer, it's all black and burnt, and in an attempt to convince her that this is a regular, normal, everyday Mr. Meaty occurrence, Parker sticks his hand in the deep fryer on purpose. He takes his hand out of the deep fryer, it's burnt to a crisp, and then he f***ing takes a bite out of his hand. But
What
it
the
worked
fuck?
on her. She believes that this is just a normal thing that happens.
Oh, yeah.
And she takes a bite out of her own hand
What
as well.
the fuck?
That's the end of the short. In another infamous episode, Schnozola, Josh overhears a girl with a zit talking about how if somebody made the perfect zit cream, they would become rich and famous. In hopes of becoming rich and famous, Josh takes this idea and makes his own zit cream. He tries it on Ashley's face, and it does get rid of the zit, but it also gets rid of her nose. They try fixing her nose and putting it back on her face, and then, and I quote from the Mr. Meaty wiki, Parker accidentally knocks it onto the grill, and then into the deep fryer, and then into a container of bacon bits. The two accidentally knock it onto the floor, where it's stolen and eaten by the restaurant's occupant rat. End quote. So, now that they don't have a nose to put back on her face anymore, the next option is meat. So then they smack a sausage.
What the
on
fuck
her
is
face.
that? It look like a
No,
piece of
that does
shit.
not sound okay. They attach the sausage.
Put a
onto
fat
her
ass
face like it's her
fucking
nose.
turd on her
She's upset
face.
about it at first, but then Josh and Parker tell her that beauty is on the inside, and then meat nose becomes the next big trend. So everyone is just walking around wearing rotting meat on their faces, and I can't possibly
Fucking
move on
chicken
from
leg.
Mr. Meaty without at least
That's
mentioning
racist. They put the
Food
chicken leg on the black girl.
AKA the tapeworm episode. It's the most infamous episode of the
fucked up.
show, without a doubt, and I'm not.
You ever
sure
seen
if
this
it
episode?
completely
This is the
counts
weirdest
as body
one.
horror,
This is the one I
but
only
it
seen.
at least deserves a mention. Whenever Parker tries to eat food, it disappears in front of his very eyes. So in order
Look.
to figure out what's going on, the reports Parker trying to eat. The food disappears, and when they slow the footage down, they see that Parker has a tapeworm living inside of him, who reaches out extremely
He's got a
fast and
worm
grabs the food before Parker
in
can
his-
eat it.
in his
and
mouth.
They come to the realization that Parker got the tapeworm by eating raw meat. Then Josh fishes the tapeworm out of Parker, and it comes flying out of his mouth. They get the tapeworm in a cage, and then this Australian cowboy guy comes in, probably Steve Irwin, I don't know. And he's like, "Oh, I dealt with these guys before, I could take them off your hands." And then he swallows the tapeworm.
Here we go. Come on in.
That's Mr. Meaty.
That was weird.
Nicktoons have no mercy. In the Cat Dog episode, Teeth for Two, Cat has really bad looking teeth. But that doesn't make sense, because Cat actually takes pretty good care of his teeth, and Dog doesn't. So how are Dog's teeth perfect and Cat's teeth rotting inside of his mouth? Well, this is because their anatomy works vice versa. Whatever Dog does to his teeth, Cat gets the results, and it's the other way around. So because Dog hasn't been taking care of his own teeth, Cat has to suffer the consequences. And because of this, Cat tries to get Dog to take better care of his teeth, but he just won't do it. Later that night, Cat is in so much pain, he has to do something to get Dog to clean his damn teeth. So the obvious solution would be to turn himself inside out and crawl up through Dog's mouth so he can brush his teeth for him. And here we see what is basically gore of somebody's comfort character. Okay, legitimate question here. Would this classify as
What the
being
fuck?
yes or no? No blood, but you are seeing the flesh of a living thing. And does that count as gore in some ways? I don't know. Either way, I'm surprised that they allow that. Actually, no, I'm not surprised at all. This is old Nicktoons we're talking about. This stuff happened like all the time. After Dog swallows Cat back to his normal form, they get in a little bit of a feud and start trying to ruin each other's teeth. And by the end of the episode, both Cat and Dog are rotting and falling out every time they speak. Some of their teeth are hanging out of their mouth. by
That's
a
nasty.
thread. Oh my god, dude. They apologize, they go to the dentist, and they get new teeth. And that episode is that.
Yeah.
If you can't handle teeth stuff, probably stay away from this episode.
Name a character who had it worse than Ellie. The answer to that question is Timothy from the 2012 adaptation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I like this TV show.
Pulverizer, or Mutagen Man. His first appearance was in the episode Pulverizer. Now, Timothy started as just a fanboy to the Turtles. His whole personality is that he idolizes the Turtles quite a bit, but because of his stupidity, the Turtles end up saving him a couple times. To the Turtles, he's pretty much considered a general nuisance, and has messed with their missions. He ends up returning in the episode The Pulverizer Returns. It's discovered that Timothy was hired by the Foot Clan, and now works as a spy for the Turtles. He was able to inform them that Shredder was going to start an army using the mutagen. Later on in the episode, Timothy volunteers
What are you
to
doing?
be experimented on in hopes of helping the Turtles out.
Stop hitting your
They try to
dog.
stop him, but are interfered by Shredder's goons. Timothy pours the mutagen on him, but realizes the dangers once he feels a burning sensation. Instead of being a kick-ass mutant like the Turtles, he ends up becoming a 6-foot living blob of mutagen and exposed organs. He loses control of himself and goes on a rampage, yet the Turtles are able to calm them down, only for Timothy to look at a reflection of himself and lose control again. Donnie comes up with a plan to trap him in a cube and freeze him. For the remainder of the series, Donnie promises himself to find a cure and restore Timothy to his human self. He did come back in the episode Mutagen Man Unleashed, where he gets new powers and tries to kidnap April, but he ends up frozen again by the end of the episode. He's made multiple cameos in the show, appearing in the background of Donnie's lab. In the episode Carmageddon, which takes place in an alternate future, we see Mutagen Man's tank at the bottom of a lake. What could this mean? Did Mutagen Man die and live the rest of his life as a mutated mess? Or did Donnie find a cure and leave his tank behind? Oh, fun fact, Timothy is voiced by Roger Craig Smith, the voice actor for Sonic and Shape Smith. Thanks, GJ.
Hello?
What the fuck is this?
Yeah. Sorry I'm late. I had a hard time finding the place. It was good. Secrete. Shut the window! Lord have mercy. People are gonna hear our business. You got the goods, Garrett? Oh ho ho! Yeah. How did you? Oh, I air that in. Princess Monster Wife. Adventure Time is no stranger to horror and disturbing episodes. The deer episode, that one episode where Princess Bubblegum gets
Nigga, that
possessed by
deer
the
one was
witch.
weird.
Speaking of the
Oh,
witch,
cat.
body horror honorable mention, this scene where the witch starts growing flesh on his body. Guardian. As freaky as all that is, I want to talk about Princess Monster Wife, an exclusively body horror episode. Ice King goes around taking body parts from a bunch of different princesses. All these princesses are gathered around, missing body parts. When Princess Bubblegum turns around, she looks like this.
Oh, hell no.
It's so real for that. Finn and Jake go to Ice King to, see if something's up, because obviously he would probably be behind something like this. Lo and behold, yes he did. He made a Princess Monster Wife out of all the body parts. We see this Frankenstein-like creature made up of all these different lady body parts. Princess Monster Wife, by the end of the episode, ends up breaking herself down, and the body parts go back to their respectful owners. And although Ice King is upset about Princess Monster Wife leaving, he's even more upset about the fact that she gave away all of his stuff. This episode isn't really creepy. If anything, it's more sad for Ice King, but it is a form of body horror technically. So it deserves a spot on the list for more body horror in kids media. Woo! He said the thing again! Woo! Yeah, baby! Anything can happen in regular show, including body horror. He said it again! Woo! Halloween-themed episodes of shows were always my favorite. And I remember the promos for the Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon Halloween specials were always so hype. Like, they always tried making them look like the scariest shit ever.
Brand new spooky episodes are coming for you every Monday in October.
Smells like the undead.
Nothing can prepare you. Stop freaking out! No one can save you. I want to draw your face.
I want to draw your face. I want to draw your face. I'm gonna draw your face.
One of this miniseries includes the infamous creepy doll story, Death Metal Crash Pit, and of course, In the House. In this story, Rigby f***s with a wizard and gets turned into a
Oh yeah, I
house.
remember
Later
that.
on, the wizard wants to get revenge on everybody, and this is where shit goes down. They're all in the house, ready to fight back and defend themselves.
Rigby
Muscle
is
Man
the
has a gun,
house.
which would not be allowed today.
I did
Muscle
watch
Man
this
starts
episode.
shooting around, gets dragged into the woods, and then you hear gunshots off in the distance. But Muscle Man's okay, kinda. He's at the door, but when he opens it, he's been flayed.
I told you I was ripped.
Is that Gore of My Comfort character? I already made that joke earlier. Now Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network have a de-skinning moment on this list. I mean, if they're allowed to show guns, why not show off a little bit of muscle and flesh? This easily takes the cake for the most disturbing part of this whole episode. The other characters also die in weird ways, but it's nowhere near as gruesome as this. And because it has to do with the body, it could classify as body horror.
Courage the Cowardly Dog scared the hell out of me as a kid, but for some reason, I can never pull my eyes away from the screen when it was on. Specifically, an episode called The Clutching Foot. Oh, this episode starts off like any other. Eustace wakes up with an itchy foot. It's purple with like green little pimples all over it. Courage and Muriel try a bunch of different odd methods to try and cure the itchiness, but the foot continues to grow. Talking about feet is gross. GJ, why'd you make me do the foot episode?
It was all a part of my evil plan, Gage.
Now, get back to talking about the foot!
After the foot keeps growing, Eustace refuses to go to the doctor, and then we get the worst scene by far. Eustace is then consumed by his own foot. It fully engulfs his body, and then the foot turns into this weird purple talking sentient
What the
creature
fuck?
where each of the toes has its own face. It's pretty gross. not
Why
gonna
he
lie.
got why he only got one
It's
toenail?
not only a giant talking foot, it's a gangster giant talking foot. It wants to pull off a bank heist and is forcing Courage to kind of play along. After that plan fails, they try again to hijack a train. And again, it also fails. Never said they were a good foot gangster. While the foot tries to plan another heist, Courage goes up to the family computer and tries to figure out a cure. He does this by ripping off one of the gross green pimples and putting it into the computer as a sample. The computer tells him the only cure to help his owners is dog spit. So he begins to lick the foot. Courage then goes ham, licking all over this foot in a scene that is way too long, I think. And Eustace slowly emerges back out from the foot as his foot slowly starts to shrink back down. At the end of the episode, we get a reveal that Courage's tongue has now been infected by the same kind of fungus that Eustace had. And that's it. Honestly, it's not the worst that I've seen, but if you're not a fan of feet like me, no good. Nasty. Hopefully the next one is not as feet related.
Time to revisit a couple of segments.
Freaky ass
As you guys
feet.
mentioned, I missed a few things. These are kind of just like honorable mentions. I don't want to go too deep into talking about them, but they should at least be mentioned. Cass Virgil says, we really ain't going to talk about the Force Fusions cluster gem monsters from Steven Universe in a body horror video, for real? I did mention I never really paid attention to Steven Universe past, like, season 1 and 2. I talked about the Cat Fingers episode in the first video, and some people in the comments brought up the episode Keeping It Together. And yeah, definitely could qualify for body horror. Thank you to everyone who recommended this to me. When you said Gumball, I was like, oh my god, is he gonna talk about what I think he's gonna talk about? But actually, no. I'm not sure which episode this is, but Alan convinces Gumball and Darwin to say yes to everything, and they end up saying yes to a scientist who injects them with expired medicine, and they just turn into these grotesque creatures. Edit. In the episode called The Saint, Gumball's tongue swells up and wraps around his head and gets covered in boils. Darwin's entire body is covered in mushrooms and he turns into a tree. There's another scene in Gumball where he changes his DNA and ends up being a pile of flesh. This is from the episode The Apprentice. You forgot the parasite from Gumball. I may have forgotten to talk about it, but I certainly did not forget about it. Gumball teleporting where he morphs into different living things. This is from the episode The Box. Looking back, Gumball had a lot of body horror moments, and maybe there will be even more body horror moments in the upcoming season.
Yay.
That's gonna be it. Thank you everyone for your recommendations. I hope I earned a subscription from you by the end of this video, and if not, don't come back. But if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing.